I mean, I think it's pretty clear. I mean, for me, I grew up obviously an MJ fan, so there is some bias there. But if you look, he's won two more championships. He's won an additional MVP. He's won, I think, 9 or 10 scoring titles more. He's won a Defensive Player of the Year. It's just, and also just when you look, this is my ultimate take. My ultimate take is if you were in a room full of people, and the Bulls and Michael Jordan were down by 15 entering the fourth quarter, and you say, hey, I know he's down by 15. I'll bet $100 that Michael Jordan somehow figures out a way to win this game. I don't think many people would take that bet. And I think that people would still bet on LeBron the same way, but I don't think they would bet the same way they would on MJ. I think he just has this it factor that separates him, in my opinion. So accolades on paper, obviously, it favors Michael Jordan. And I'm not a longevity guy, because if you are a longevity guy, then you're saying, where does Kareem rank? Because Kareem has just as many championships as Michael Jordan. He has more MVPs. More all-time points, more all-time rebounds, more all-time blocks. Why is he not above, all these other guys? So I'm a big, who was the best at their best, And I think that if you look at that peak that Michael Jordan had, it was just unbelievable dominance. The fact that there was a year where he won the scoring title, the regular season MVP, the finals MVP, was also first team all defense. And I think he did that 4 times and nobody else did it. The fact that there was a year that he won the Olympic gold medal, the finals MVP, the championship, but MVP. He just did everything that he was just so dominant. And he did it on both sides of the ball. And I think that's something that most people don't consider, is how dominant he was defensively as well. That's one thing I hate about this era right now, is no one ever considers the two-way. Two-way. And it's what impact you have on offense and defense. And, I think that, ultimately, if you're just looking at a two-way player that ultimately gets it done, that had the most killer mentality I think that we've ever seen in the sport, that's why I'm riding with MJ. But again, I'm not one of those people that says, I am going to bash LeBron to prop up MJ. I'm just saying MJ's here. And LeBron is also way up here. LeBron has had an unbelievable career. I think LeBron has had an underrated career, even as highly rated as he is. Because I don't think people realize how hard it is to get to 10 finals, 8 straight, dominate a conference where people are literally moving out of your conference because they're like, you can't beat them, So that's my reasoning, and that sounds like you have a different opinion, but that's okay. I respect that. I would just say that if you're looking at on paper their accolades, you're basically saying that LeBron MJ has an advantage, the same career that basically Kevin Durant has.
I actually don't. So I don't disagree with you, and this is going to sound like a cop-out, but so the whole GOAT debate, and we'll end it after this because we could probably spend 3 hours on this. The whole GOAT debate is kind of stupid to me because nobody has actually defined what it means to be the GOAT. Because if we're talking about, the stat GOAT, right? LeBron has that, right? Most points, I mean, if you look at his rebounds, his assists, the fact that he's averaged 27, 7, and 7 for the last, 20 years, the stuff that he's done in terms of just pure statistics, I don't think anybody will ever do again. If we're talking about, to your point, to your example, you're down 15, who do you trust to bring your team back and win the game? MJ is the choice, far and away. The mentality, the ability, all of that stuff. If you're talking about, a regular season GOAT, I would argue, 2012 LeBron with Miami might have been one of the best regular seasons we've ever seen. I mean, he shot, 60% from the field, 40 from 3, average damn near 30, just an incredible season. So, what is it? And then if you're looking at championships, right, then, Bill Russell is the GOAT. So, the definition of...
I don't think you can define it. I think it's all of
right.
that. I think it's all together, and I think that, again, there's a ton of things that matter. LeBron's had, like I said, finals where he's led every stat category and lost. Michael Jordan had a year where he averaged over 40 points in the playoffs and got swept by the Celtics. So it's, to me, there's a lot more factors, and if you look at, all over the board, it's hard to say anything. And if you say, oh, well, longevity stats matter, then I go, okay, well, is John Stockton the best point guard ever? Because he's the all-time leader in both assists and steals. So does that mean he's the best, two-way point guard ever? And you're going, no, wait, but he wasn't as good as, well, why? Because you're talking about eye test, you're talking about MVPs, you're talking about a lot of things. So I don't think that there is a perfect definition for GOAT. I think, to me, when I'm explaining it, I'm saying, with my eyes, what have I seen? Who is the greatest basketball player that I've ever witnessed? And from everything that I've seen, from the it factor, from the offensive skill, from the defensive tenacity, from the ultimate, who do I want to shoot the last shot and carry my team? That's why I ultimately choose Michael Jordan. But I have respect for so many other opinions too, just because I also think that eras change. Like if you look back at Kareem did not have the film studies, the weightlifting, the personal trainers. He didn't have any of that stuff that the modern era has. You look at Michael Jordan. They weren't in a 3-point shooting era. And they also were able to beat him up every time he came through the lane. Like imagine Michael Jordan without hand checking. And then you go, Michael Jordan didn't start lifting weights until halfway through his NBA career. LeBron probably started lifting weights at 13 years old. So I think there's so many things that you have to take in consideration if you're really thinking about it. And teammates matter. You look at Michael Jordan, the one argument I always use against myself, because I try to just show that I'm a basketball fan, is he arguably had the best rebounder with Dennis Rodman, the best shooter with Steve Kerr percentage-wise, the best defender in Scottie Pippen, the best coach in Phil Jackson. And you're going, and then he had role players like Luke Longley and Tony Kukoc. And he had a great team too. That's part of the reason why they were so good. So I think it's a great basketball conversation. I think very few fans can have the opinion that I have, where you can uplift everybody and say, this is why. And I understand the other side of it. I think most people just try to bring people down and instead of lifting everybody up.